She held it down, so she got a Mercedes. Your money records, the army, the navy. They ran me 10,000, I threw it like Brady. The foreign is yellow like Tracy and Katie. I trust in my.
Hey guys, so this is what if Deku had the mask. So yeah guys, so I just had to, set up the music. Now guys, basically, let me take my video real quick. So guys, basically, this is what if Deku had the mask. Part 1. Now this is one what if that I wanted to do for a pretty long time actually. So basically, this is what if Deku had the mask. So basically, Deku, first of all, I'm going to explain what Deku looks like. Deku isn't going to be looking any different in canon. Deku's actually going to be looking exactly like canon. He's still going to have a skinny body. Basic Deku's going to be the same, to be honest. Now, Deku has a jacked up personality in this canon. Basically, Deku has a very dark personality, but also a funny personality as well. Deku grew up on Looney Tunes, so Deku just thought, that things, how people can be warped and shaped and bended and twisted is, funny. Basically, Deku had, a little bit of a jacked up personality. Now, basically, Deku will get the mask, but first of all, before I dive into the what if anymore, let me explain, what else is going on my channel. Now, I'm gonna be uploading this week, or, this Saturday or Sunday. Sorry, guys. Thank you for any of you that said bless you. Basically, guys, basically, guys, I'm gonna be uploading what if Deku with a Speed Force. What if Deku had, what if Deku was a Ninja Turtle? And that's basically it. So I'm gonna be uploading this, so yeah. So after I upload this video, this week, or Sunday or Saturday, I'm gonna be uploading what if Deku had the Speed Force, or was a Speedster, what if Deku was a Ninja Turtle, or was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So yeah. So guys, I can't decide if I should make multiple different characters of My Hero Academia a Ninja Turtle and make the Ninja Turtle team, or just make Deku into a Ninja Turtle and give him all the personalities of the Ninja Turtles. But yeah. So guys, so basically, guys, this is the right time to tell you guys who should I ship Deku with. I have two choices. I think I should ship Deku with Mina, or I should ship Deku with I think I could ship Deku with Ochaku, because I don't get it. Some people say Ochaku's a gold digger. I kinda get that vibe. Don't really know for sure. I haven't seen that video about somebody disking Ochaku, so guys, go in the comments and tell me. But yeah, so basically, I'm gonna be going into more detail. So let's get the what if started, guys. Sorry for all the back talk, or the talk. So basically, let's get into it. Now, basically, Deku will be born all the same. Deku's life is gonna be exactly the same. All that jazz. Deku's still gonna have green hair. All of that. But Deku, has a jacked up personality. Now, pretty much Deku still gets bullied because Deku was born quirkless. Now, basically, Deku was born with a quirk, but it was too weak, and also it wasn't really committed as a quirk, so the quirk just said, it's easier for you to just say you're quirkless. So Deku said that, and it basically would turn out the same if Deku even told them his quirk. Deku's quirk was called, rule change. Basically, Deku can change the rules to anything, but only once. Let's say, for instance, not the rules to, the reality or anything like that, just the rules to an object. Like, say, for instance, the rules to a gun is that, the gun comes out the bullet. Deku can change the rules of that, but can't change the, the real, concept of the top rule of the game. Pretty much Deku's quirk is kind of complicated, but also very weak, and really can't do anything at all. So, it really wouldn't play a big part in this, but it is going to be a big part into how it's going to change and tweak up the powers of the mask. Basically, Deku, from a young age, was interested in a lot of cartoons, and watched cartoons a lot. I mean, like a lot. Deku was a huge Toon fan, and buyed all of the DVDs and stuff like that, like from, Disney and Toon movies. Deku also was a huge fanatic of Mask and all sorts of, voodoo stuff. Now, basically, one day Deku went to Deku was, one day after Deku, got bullied from Bakugo after Deku said he was gonna sign up for UA. Basically, you know, Deku gets bullied by Bakugo, gets, jumped, and pretty much gets his notebook thrown away and blown up. Basically, Deku chuckles at this and pretty much says, "I'm gonna kill him one day," and pretty much walks off. Basically, Deku's walking off down the bridge because he takes, a different shortcut. He takes the same shortcut, actually. He walks down, but instead of the sludge villain being there, it's some sort of, piece of garbage with some sort of mask in it. Deku picks up the garbage thinking it's a person, but it's just a piece of garbage that has a mask on it. Basically, Deku grabs the mask and looks at it. But when he looks at it a couple minutes, Deku hears a voice saying that you should kill Bakugo. Deku snaps back into reality and says, "What the?" And pretty much takes the mask home, seeing that it's a cool souvenir, and he was also looking for a new mask. And this mask looked pretty cool. So Deku takes the mask back home. This is basically what the mask looks like. Deku takes the mask back home, pretty much putting it on his shelf. Deku, goes online, pretty much, looking up places to train for the 10-month art training because Deku got bullied at the last day of school. Basically, Deku was, pretty much in his room, about to take a nap after lifting a couple of weights. After, he tried to train a little bit. Basically, buying a couple of weights when he was on his way home with the mask in his backpack. Basically, Deku, lifted about, curled up about 2 sets and pretty much went back home. Went to sleep sore, super sore because he never worked out before. Basically, Deku goes to sleep, and Deku wakes up and, have to go to the bathroom. Deku goes to the bathroom and sees the mask on the toilet seat. Basically, Deku's confused and really, weirded out. Deku grabs the mask, but the mask glows a little bit. Deku's confused and pretty much turns off the lights, grabbing the mask and walking out the bathroom. But before you can do that, the mask glows. Deku's confused and also very scared. Deku runs out of the bathroom and comes later, a couple minutes later, with an antique katana Deku picked up, and pretty much walking in there, pointing it at the mask and pretty much picking it up by the eye holes, putting the katana in the eye holes, and picking it up, and pretty much dragging it in the back, dragging it out the door. But before he can do that, he hears a voice from the mask, and the mask said, "I can give you power. I can give you a quirk." Deku immediately drops the sword, but he has a carpet floor in the middle, so it does dampen the noise a little bit. And Deku's mom is a heavy sleeper, so it does, doesn't do that much, noise. So basically, Deku picks up the mask and wants to see, what he looks like in the mask. Pretty much, he puts the mask on, and out of nowhere, Deku was teleported into a dark area, or a dark space, kind of like how, the Upside Down is. Basically, Deku's walking around his upside down house, and basically seeing a man with a green face. This man explains to Deku that, "I'm the mask. I'm a being of pure power that draws power from the Toon Force." Deku's confused and says, "What's the Toon Force?" Now, guys, this is the perfect opportunity to explain the powers of the mask. Now, basically, guys, sit back, relax, and I'm going to explain. So, basically, let's, go through the extra powers that the mask has, and then to the main powers. Basically, the mask has, all sorts of powers. I mean, like, the mask could possibly take down Superman in a 1v1, or even take down Wanda. Basically, the mask can only work in nighttime. And I'm gonna work, the pros and the cons. So the cons is the mask can only work in the nighttime. But since Deku has a minor quirk, he can change that and make the mask able to, give him powers during the daytime. So that's gonna not be, a really bad drawback. Now, the mask also can't do anything with the, Toon Force unless the user thinks that, item or that creation they're making out of the Toon Force is funny. And they can pretty much do anything with pretty much anything with the Toon Force as long as it's funny to the user in particular. So basically, say Deku stabs somebody in the chest. That can be funny to him, and he can do that. Deku could summon a bazooka and shoot it at somebody and kill him. And if that's funny to Deku, it's possible. So anything that's funny to him, he can do. Basically, Deku can destroy the whole entire universe. And if it's funny to him, he can do it. Like, it's really no real drawbacks to Deku's powers. And Deku does have a jacked up humor. So Deku can do a lot of things with the Toon Force. So basically, Deku, seeing this as an opportunity, gets told about all the powers. Now, let's talk about the pros of the mask. Now, the mask, you're basically immortal with the mask on. You're immortal. But also, you become a little bit insane as well with the mask on. Since Deku had a weird personality and kind of a jacked up humor, but Deku wasn't, crazy. But now, with the mask, he kind of is a little bit. So, Deku still has, a perfectly good mind. Deku's able to still function and talk and be normal, kind of, when the mask is on. Now, basically, we're not going to be talking about a certain mask, a movie in this What If, okay, guys? If you know what I'm talking about, even though that movie was a terrible idea. But yeah, so basically, sorry guys, my desk is messing up. But basically, guys, Deku is going to be, well, very excited. Pretty much saying how I'm going to use all these powers. Pretty much the mask puts it in simple terms and says, Deku, basically, he says Azuku, but he says Deku, I'm going to say Deku for narrating purposes. He says, Deku, basically, you can basically do anything as long as it's funny to you. Deku sees this at Brand 2 and he says, this is awesome. Basically, Deku is also told that he has immortality. He's able to summon weapons and all that other stuff. Deku also is impervious to bullets and all sorts of other things. And Deku also can change reality around him, making him float, stop, or even making him, stop time, if it's something to him. Now, Deku can also pull grenades and huge packs of TNT out of his boxers, out of thin air, or, take a whole entire submarine out of his and pretty much chuck it at somebody. Deku, as long as it's funny, he can do it. So, Deku also have another power. Deku can also, now with the mask off, Deku is, powerless. Deku can, make the mask slowly, warp towards him. Like, the mask can slowly, creep towards him. Like, the mask moves as fast as basically an ant towards Deku when he wants to summon it towards him if it's knocked off his face. But that's pretty much impossible because the user has to be persuaded to take the mask off, or the user has to take the mask off for the mask to even come off. Or the mask has to detach itself from Deku, but that's pretty, unsanitary, because the mask loves Deku because he likes his personality and his humor. And it gives Deku a lot of power and liberty to use his powers. So basically, Deku puts the mask on, and after Deku agrees to all the terms and saying that I'll use this mask for the power, and basically saying that I'm going to do a little bit of things, and a little bit of payback to some people before I start becoming a hero. Basically, Deku, is still, being a weirdo, basically. Deku, basically, is still, him. But he also has the psychotic side of the mask. So Deku wants to do a little bit of a hit list. Deku puts together a hit list real quick, teleporting it in his hands. Seeing all these names of people that bullied him and also beat him up. Seeing that they, they're in his school, and also, they're definitely not going to get in the UA because they have trash quirks. So Deku gets ready and basically puts on a black hoodie. Deku puts on a black hoodie, and basically Deku's mask gets attached to him. Now, basically, Deku has a mask. Basically, this mask face is pretty cool. I like this art. This looks a little creepy, but that's the part of the aesthetic of the mask. Basically, Deku runs out of his house, making no noise. Like, doing that funny tune thing with no noise, tiptoeing out of the house. Deku, teleports a bike that has a Looney Tunes style design on it and pretty much drives off. Deku drives off, driving through walls and buildings and also crashing a little bit, Looney Tunes style, but going through the buildings. Also ramming against people and killing them. Deku shows up to one of the bullies, the kid that had those fly wings, those dragon wings that bullied Deku during the first episode of UA. The first episode of, My Hero Academia, the kid that bullied Deku with Bakugo that had, those dragon wings. Basically, Deku shows up at his house and kicks his door down, taking out a whole entire Uzi, and just starts lighting it up. I mean lighting it up. Now, guys, at this point, if you don't know, you should be saying, it's in the it's in my description by the time I upload this video. This video contains a lot of violence. So basically, Deku, starts shooting them all down, his whole entire family. Not his whole entire family, pretty much shooting the kid, killing him, and also killing his dog. Pretty much running out there, seeing that his dad and mom are, gone on vacation. Deku goes to the finger-expanding quirk guy that, bullied Deku, and killing him too. Killing a couple other kids that bullied him, and also eventually showing up at Bakugo's house. Until the night ends, Deku runs to his house, and basically goes into, his house. Deku goes in his house, and the mask, turns normal and comes off Deku's face. Now, Deku is confused, and pretty much, the next night, after the 2-month arc training, Deku, after 1 week, Deku develops, Deku, figures that since the power of the mask only works at nighttime, I should, try to focus on my physical body. Now, basically, Deku trains, and the mask also gives Deku training advice at nighttime, and also training Deku's body at nighttime. Now, I'm going to give Deku a little extra power. The mask will be able to telepathically communicate with Deku, even though it's daytime. So Deku can have insight by the mask. So let's say, for instance, the mask is like hooked on Deku's back. The mask can see an enemy coming behind Deku, and Deku can, hear the mask saying to move out the way. So the mask is basically a secondary eyes for Deku. So basically, Deku can communicate with the mask, and the mask gives Deku, directions, and, pretty much, well, to be honest, gives Deku a little bit of, advice into how to work out. So basically, Deku works out and gets a pretty good, score altogether. Gets a pretty good body altogether. Now, Deku has the same body that he had during the 10-month arc training, and basically getting a pretty good body. Now, basically, Deku sees that his quirk could probably change this whole entire daytime thing. So basically, Deku grabs the mask and says, I want to try something, and puts the mask on, using his quirk just a little bit on the mask, changing a certain rule on the mask, giving the user the ability to use the mask during the daytime. Basically, the mask says, is it awesome? And very much, Deku says, yeah. So basically, guys, should I keep the mask talking, like making the mask, have a sentient, brain? Or should I just, get rid of the mask, talking to Deku? So, either one. So, okay, basically, Deku, trains, and pretty much Deku, sees something that he really wants. Basically, Deku says, let's test out my abilities. Basically, Deku did test out a little bit of his abilities, how to summon objects and, on his strength, but Deku wanted to test out his immortality. So, basically, put it short, Deku robs a bank, super speed style. Basically, Deku, uses his super speed, like, Road Runner, pretty much speeding into the bank, grabbing all the money, and speeding out, being stopped by, in this universe, Agenium isn't, killed or, damaged by the Slade at this point. So basically, Agenium runs towards Deku, but Deku dodges Agenium with, ease, and grabs Agenium by the engines and pretty much chucks him into a wall, knocking the snot out of him. Deku, runs out of the bank, sledding all the money and the cash around the whole entire, place. Pretty much, running and running and running. Deku's running, 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 and pretty much Deku eventually, comes into, intertwines with All Might. All Might, runs towards Deku, but Deku seeing that, he has his hood over his face and no one has seen his mask yet. Basically, Deku sees this opportunity and sees, that they can't see his mask yet because I haven't, got into the UA yet. So basically, Deku, uses a little bit of shape-shifting and makes himself look like a random guy from, Canada. Pretty much Deku runs towards All Might, pretty much going for a huge punch towards All Might. All Might dodging it, but Deku just speeding away. And basically, speeding back with a huge cartoony mallet. Pretty much slamming the life out of All Might. Almost killing All Might, but not enough to, do any permanent damage or take down any of the hours that All Might has. Basically, Deku sprints off, basically saying that it was a close one. Deku does look up to All Might, but yet again, Deku does have a sort of like a god complex to him. So he doesn't really care what All Might thinks, and he doesn't really care who All Might is anymore, because he is stronger than him. He's shown that, like, a couple minutes, like seconds ago. Basically, Deku runs back home, and basically, and he looks at the money saying that I don't even need this, but basically putting it in his pocket, the whole entire bag in his pocket. That's Looney Tune for you. Pretty much putting the whole entire bag in his pocket. And basically, Deku pretty much, has the mask on, sleeps with it on, pretty much all that other stuff. Basically, now guys, I should say this already, I do not own any of the art in this video, but yeah. Basically, Deku, goes to, sorry guys. So basically, Deku goes to, EUA after the 10-month arc training, and now Deku is wearing the same black hoodie, but with, red jeans, and the Deku, stitch on the back of his jacket, with the mask on his face, with his hoodie down. Basically, All Might can't really recognize Deku that much. So guys, basically, sorry for hitting it here, but I'm gonna end it off here, guys.